All right, guys, I'm going to do one more video here on the theme of the latest Chanel Bleu de Chanel flanker. It's Bleu de Chanel Exclusive. Yeah, I'm going to talk about it today. A lot of you requested that I do a video of options that are niche, that would be great alternatives. So when I think about alternatives for this fragrance, do I want something that smells just like it or somewhat similar to it? Personally, I don't think so. If you want something similar to this, why not go with the Parfum, which the L'Exclusive is also a Parfum. You can go with the Eau de Parfum or the OG, the original Eau de Toilette. So those, I think, would be great alternatives if you're contemplating about getting the Bleu de Chanel Exclusive, but you think it's way overpriced. But mind you, also, I mentioned in my video for this, it is on sale right now at Macy's. It's 15% off, and I believe Macy's does offer 15% off of Chanel fragrances. I still have to go take my receipt and get my discount applied to my total or get a refund for the difference or something. But I'm putting together a video for you, or I've got a video here for you of alternatives. If you're contemplating on this fragrance, and you're saying, no, I'm done with designer fragrances. I'm done with Bleu de Chanel. I've already worn the EDT, the EDP, the Parfum. Why bother get another Parfum when I can get a niche fragrance, smell completely different that I'm, used to smelling like? So let me know your thoughts. Have you gotten your nose on Chanel's Bleu de Chanel Exclusive? Put a comment down below. Let's find out. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 10 options. Actually, one of the options is going to have multiple variations of it, and I'm going to give you those variations as well. But before I get to the list, I do want to say my biggest gripe with this fragrance was not the smell. I actually kind of enjoy the smell. It's the price. It's too expensive for a men's signature line designer fragrance. With tax, it's almost $300. That's the biggest problem that I have with it. Otherwise, I kind of enjoy the smell. In fact, I kind of enjoy it more than the other fragrances. But I feel like the Parfum, the OG Parfum, is quite close to the L'Exclusive. There are differences for sure. But if you want to continue in the family of Bleu de Chanel, go with the Parfum. It's about $76 lower for the same size bottle. And of course, right now there's the 15% off sale at Macy's, and you'll get about $30 off of a $200 bottle of fragrance. There's tax on top of that as well. But if you don't want to do that, you're ready to graduate and get a niche fragrance, then here are some awesome fragrances that I do recommend that I find to be great fragrances for the guys that don't smell like Bleu de Chanel DNA, but are quite popular, hyped, and loved fragrances for guys out there. So not everything is specifically targeted to men, but majority of them are very masculine leaning. But let's get started with the first one. We're going to the house of XERJOFF. It's Naxos. Naxos is a very popular fragrance. In fact, when I have clients come in for sniff sessions and consultations, some of them are really into checking out the XERJOFF fragrances. 9 out of 10 times they fall in love with Naxos. Naxos is one that they really enjoy wearing. So I've written prices down. Suggested retail 100 ml for $270. This is $6 less than Chanel Les Exclusive, and that's the suggested retail price. Right now, I found online 100 ml for around $200, which is about the same price as the suggested retail price of Bleu de Chanel in the Parfum concentration. So why, if you've worn all 3 of the Bleu de Chanel fragrances and you're contemplating on the L'Exclusive, why not graduate to something that's not a designer, not a mass market fragrance, and smell this really awesome honeyed aromatic fougère like tobacco fragrance? So to me, it's got lavender and it's got tonka, so it acts a bit like a amber fougère, but there's a lot of tobacco here, and it's warm and spicy, a little bit gooey honeyed, and then of course it's also powdery as well. It's really awesome, really, really popular fragrance from the house of XERJOFF. And again, as I said, a lot of my, sniff session clients, consultation clients that want to check out XERJOFF fragrances, they really, really enjoy this one. A lot of the times it's usually men that enjoy it more than women, but once in a while, women enjoy this fragrance as well. I actually quite like it. It's definitely one of my favorites. And it's got this very distinct, unique smell. And I like the combination of the lavender, the tonka, which creates that kind of a fougère accord. And then also the honey touches. The tobacco in this is also not the smoky variety. It's the more leafy variety. So it's quite delicious. The honey in here sweetens it up and makes it powdery. And again, it's a great fragrance. And also we're going into autumn here. This will be a great fragrance for autumn. Let me know if you're a fan of this. Now, again, as I said, suggested retail price, 100 ml for $270. It's $6 less than BLEU DE CHANEL L'EXCLUSIve. But it's at the discounters, 100 ml for $200, and that's priced exactly or identically to BLEU DE CHANEL Parfum. So why not get something really great, smell different than the BLEU DE CHANEL DNA, and, skip the designer fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of Naxos. Add a comment below. Let's move on to the next fragrance I'm going to recommend. This is a unisex offering, but it does lean masculine. We are going to the house of essential parfums. This is Bois Imperial, a fragrance created by Quentin Biche. And it's a great, very popular DNA. It's leaning very woody and spicy, a bit minerally and aromatic. And I feel like also when it's drying down, it gets a little ambery in the base. But I feel like the extract of this, which is, I think, around 150 for a 30 ml, is a bit more ambery than the original in eau de parfum concentration. But, a lot of people said when I announced that they were launching an extract of this one lasts a long time. You don't really need the extract version of this, but still you can go for either. I'm highlighting the eau de parfum, the original, and it's $96 for 100. That's even less expensive than the eau de toilette of BLEU DE CHANEL, which is $135, I believe, for the 100 ml. So what do you think? You want something niche, or do you want to smell like a lot of other guys that are wearing, mass market designer fragrances? There's a place and time for those. But as I was saying, if you've been wearing this fragrance over and over again, and you're contemplating on the new L'EXCLUSIve, kind of feeling tired of wearing the same smell over and over again, just changed up a little bit, graduate to one of these awesome niche offerings. And I think you'll not only stand out, but also smell great. But this DNA, as I said, is very woody. It's very spicy. It's aromatic, and it's a bit minerally, earthy as well. So all these things come to mind, but also it acts very autumn-like. And I think I've kind of curated some great offerings here that are also going to be perfect for autumn, but they're going to be perfect all year round as well. So this is great. It even dries down to smell even better, and you'll feel, it's got a manly quality about it because it's all woods, spices, and aromatics and things like that. And again, it doesn't smell like the BLEU DE CHANEL DNA. You'll smell quite original, and you'll stand out and not blend in with a lot of other guys out there wearing that BLEU DE CHANEL DNA. Again, I was criticizing this fragrance because of the price. I think it's just not worth it, even though I bought it, but I'm speaking to you guys about it. If I had this for $200, it would be a completely different story. Plus, I get that 15% discount at Macy's. But again, if you've worn 3 versions of BLEU DE CHANEL already, it's time to graduate to something a little different. And I think Bois Imperial is definitely an awesome fragrance, and it's under $100. I couldn't find any deals on that. It's not at the discounters. Essential Parfums rarely ends up at the discounters. So it's still $96 for 100 ml. You don't even need to get it on sale because it's so inexpensive. Plus, it's niche offering, as I said. So let's move on to the next fragrance. Going to the house of Kajal. This is Kajal 3. So I wanted to highlight something like Sospiro's Vibrato, which is in our latest ScentClub kit, by the way. And that's another great way for you guys to discover fragrances. If you want to stand out, I put together a ScentClub kit every 2 months. And we have a fulfillment team here that produces all the boxes and the artwork and, puts the kits together, puts them together, fills them up, and we ship them out. So the latest kit is ScentClub Kit 16, and it does feature Sospiro's Vibrato, but it also has Dodo Jackfruit Edition, and it has Murmure d'Eté from Plume Impressions. So 3 great fragrances, and it's a great way for you to discover. They're about 5.5 ml bottles for $49. So we have the Dodo from Zoologist Perfumes. This is the Jackfruit Edition, and this is the Murmure d'Eté. The Dodo is a fougère, green, fruity, tropical. The Murmure d'Eté is a fig. It's green and woody. And then the Vibrato is a zingy, spicy, ginger, grapefruit, combo of notes. But I wanted to feature that it was more expensive than the BLEU de Chanel. It's about $300 something for a bottle. But again, I'm highlighting the kit. But as an alternative, you can also try Kajal 3, which suggested retail price is 100 ml for $230, but it's currently around $150 for 100 ml. And so you'd have that DNA and you'd save quite a bit of money because this is $276. It is on sale right now. I'm only working with the suggested retail price. So for $150 at the discounters for this, you're saving about $126. And again, you'll end up smelling very zingy, spicy, citrusy, musky. The grapefruit and ginger combo is quite refreshing here. And with the Kajal 3, you also get a little bit of that creaminess. I think there's like a lemon sorbet or something like that note in there. So it acts and smells kind of creamy on skin. Plus, it's a very sexy DNA. So again, you'll smell different than everyone else, especially if your buddies are all wearing, Chanel, BLEU de Chanel, or kind of the mass market fragrances. And you graduate to something smelling, unique and different, but also really great and also super sexy. Compliments and things like that will come in from folks. This stuff is awesome. I really love the Tigard DNA. I recently featured it in a grapefruit video. And actually, stick around for my ginger video. This is also in a ginger video tomorrow, a deep dive. Got a deep dive video on ginger fragrances tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. But I absolutely love the DNA. I think the combination of grapefruit, ginger, citruses, it's so amazing. Both of the ingredients, the ginger and the grapefruit, are kind of zingy, spicy, and I think they complement one another and make for this really explosive combo. So this is a great fragrance to try. You can either try this or take advantage of the latest kit and have 2 additional fragrances to try in addition to the Sospiro Vibrato, which is here. And, end up smelling really awesome and not you spend the same amount that you would spend on Chanel BLEU de Chanel L'EXCLUSIF. So the next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is Mancera's Intense Cedrat Boise, this one right here. So if you know the original, then it's a more intense take on the original here, and it also goes a bit more leathery in the dry down, but it's all quite juicy, citrusy up top. And also there's woods and ambery touches along the way and spices galore. But I really love the juiciness of Mancera's Cedrat Boise. It's so, there's a fruitiness about it and a juiciness about it. And with the intense version in comparison to the OG, there is a pulpy quality about this one. And you can experience the texture, the pulpiness of the texture of the fragrance. And I feel like as it's settling down, the citruses are getting lighter and eventually the leather will pop through as well. So this is suggested retail price, 120 ml for $200. So basically the same price as the original Parfum of Bleu de Chanel. But this is 120 ml. The original Parfum of Bleu de Chanel is 100 ml for 200. So you're getting 20 ml more juice, but it's currently about $100 for a 120 ml at the discounter. So if you went straight to the any store that sells fragrances at suggested retail, you'll pay 200. But if you went to a discounter, which I have linked, all of these fragrances should be linked if they are available online, you would get the 120 ml for $100. And again, this fragrance probably is a bit more mass appealing, maybe more with the OG Cedrat Boise. The intense kind of gets leathery, as I said, so it might be a bit different. But I think it's got a very mass appealing quality and crowd pleasing quality about it. People seem to like these kind of fragrances, and they attract compliments and things like that. And in the end, also, what they were trying to do with the Bleu de Chanel Exclusive, they added a more ambery effect, leathery kind of things like that. So it got a bit smoky. The ambery leather, I mean, it did get more ambery, but the leatheriness and the smokiness was not as strong as the ambery qualities, but it did eventually develop. Here with the Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise, it does get a bit more leathery in the dry down. So kind of similar ideas, but different smells altogether. But I find that the Bleu de Chanel L'Exclusive is very connected to the other Chanel Bleu de Chanels. And so even though this version was supposed to be so different, it doesn't act so different because the main DNA of the fragrance is there. It just gets amberier and more intense as it's developing. So I think the Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise is a really great alternative. Not smelling identical, but kind of acting similar as well. The next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from Jovoy. It's Incident Diplomatique. Just keep in mind, I put together a nice curated list of more masculine leaning fragrances, even though these are unisex offerings. And so they do lean masculine. With the Incident Diplomatique, its suggested retail price 100 ml for $220. You can find it for around 100 ml, $200 at the discounters currently. Definitely one of my favorite fragrances from the house. It's definitely a top 5, if not a top 3 for me. I love the combination of the vetiver here and patchouli together. There's some spices like nutmeg, and there's also some citruses, light citruses like, I think it's orange or mandarin orange here. So it gives you a little bit of a sweet citrusy touch against the earthing notes of the patchouli and the vetiver. And that combination is top notch. I really love it. If you blend patchouli with vetiver, I start enjoying the vetiver more because I really am obsessed with the way patchouli smells. And this one, again, as I said, I used to wear it a lot. It used to garner me compliments. I used to get stopped on the street, people asking me what I'm wearing. So I kind of like that. But just keep in mind, I don't wear fragrances for compliments. I wear fragrances because I love the way fragrances smell. And when the compliments come in, that's even better. But with this one, if you're familiar with Vetiver by Guerlain, just think of that fragrance, but plus an overdose of the patchouli note. And it's a great combination of earthy notes, both the patchouli, the vetiver together, earthy, grassy, woody, all are blended together to create this very, very sexy fragrance. It's also quite long-lasting. It has great lingering power, great projection and things like that. And I think it'll be a great fragrance if you are into more of a woody, earthy kind of a scent. So that's Incident Diplomatique from the house of Jovoy. So let me turn my list. I've got my prices all written down here so I don't forget. So the next fragrance is Bon Parfumeur's 601. This is 100 ml for $140. So great price for a mass market niche brand that the prices are not so expensive. 140 for 100 ml. That's a great price, I think. There's a lot of designer fragrances that are even more expensive than this. In fact, the original Bleu de Chanel Eau de Toilette is $135, just $5 less than the Bon Parfumeur 601, which is 100 ml for $140. This is Eau de Parfum concentration. It does feature the notes of vetiver, cedar, and bergamot. So once again, we've got a very woody and fresh fragrance. It's a fresh, spicy fragrance, I feel like, with the way the notes are blended. And it's a nice kind of a green, juicy, citrusy start, and it's the bergamot is a unique citrus in that it's not super tart or super sweet. It's a nice balance. Plus, it has a slight floral smell to it as well. I'm absolutely in love with bergamot. In fact, there's a bergamot deep dive video on the channel, guys. If you haven't watched it, please do go catch that. But what I like about this one, you can smell the vetiver and the cedar together. The cedar actually kind of has a bit of a creaminess. I almost feel like there's a bit of sandalwood in here because there's an underlying creamy smoothness under there. But as I said, up top, we've got a lot of that fresh, maybe a bit zesty or zingy touch of, citruses like bergamot there. I think it's a great masculine fragrance. I consider woody notes masculine, but this is freshened up with that bergamot up top, which makes it a very fresh, aromatic, woody, citrus woody experience. Let me know if you're familiar with 601 from the house of Bon Parfumeur. Are you guys a fan of that house? So next we've got two fragrances, but the same fragrance in two different concentrations from the house of Molton Brown. This is Coastal, Cypress, and Sea Fennel. So I have the new bottles in the Eau de Parfum, which is 100 ml for 180, and I've got the Eau de Toilette in the older bottle, which is 100 ml for 130. They do put these on sale once in a while. They'll have a 25% off sale, and sometimes these end up at the discounters as well. I just couldn't find any at this time, so do some searches, or I'll have them linked in the info box for you guys to check out while the video is playing. But this fragrance, I feel like, is a great, fresh, citrusy, aromatic, spicy, and marine experience. The original is lighter, so if you like a lighter take on fragrances, you'd go with the one in the Eau de Toilette. Just keep in mind the bottle comes like this now, but it's a clear bottle, and then it has the little cap like that. These are the older bottles. I just have an older bottle of it, and they don't make these bottles anymore, but maybe you'll find a bottle like this at the discounters. But there's a kind of a camphor mintiness here, and I think that's the sea fennel. It's pretty prominent, and you also have a bit of that marine sea breezy kind of smell, but along with it, there's some woods and citruses. It's quite fresh and marine, but it's a tolerable marine. It's not super fishy kind of smelling. I think this fragrance personally is maybe a bit inspired by the idea of Jo Malone's Wood Sage and Sea Salt. Let me know if you guys are familiar with that, but I didn't feature that fragrance here because it is an eau de cologne here. We're dealing with an eau de toilette and then the eau de parfum version now. And basically the eau de parfum just makes the eau de toilette version deeper and more concentrated. And for me, the experience is, it doesn't have as much of a projection with the EDP as the eau de toilette does. But you basically experience the same thing. You're smelling the same thing, but deeper, denser, richer, not with a lot of projection. But I think it's a great alternative to Bleu de Chanel. It does act a bit Bleu de Chanel-like, but more like a niche offering with a marine edge to it, because it's got the watery, aquatic, marine thing happening there. There's aromatics and spices, and the EDP does get ambery in the dry down as well. So that is Coastal, Cypress, and Sea Fennel. I forgot to mention, the Cypress is also very prominent in there, and I think it's the Sea Fennel and the Cypress together giving us that kind of camphor-like, minty camphor-like experience. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of NILAFAR DU NIL. It's NILUFER. And this is a fragrance that's actually been featured in a ScentClub kit, but it's so inexpensive, 100 ml for $125. A fragrance created by Maurice, who creates fragrances for XERJOFF and among many other brands. But what I like about this one, it gives me an old school barbershop vibe with an amber and nutty experience. So if you like barbershop fragrances, which are fougères, they typically have lavender, tonka, and notes like that, maybe even geranium. But taking that kind of a DNA and adding some hazelnuts, I think there's also almonds here. We're adding some ambery touches as well, vanillic touches. So you're warming up the mostly fresh experience with the fougère style or the barbershop style. And to me, it is such a nicely done fragrance and also very, very inexpensive. $125 for this. It smells like $250, $300. So awesome. So awesome. I really love it. And that's why it was so good for me. Plus created by a really awesome perfumer, Maurice. And again, as I said, he does fragrances for XERJOFF. In fact, I believe he created Naxos. But honestly, Naxos and NILUFER do not smell alike. To me, Naxos has an amber fougère style, but it's tobacco and honey, whereas NILUFER does smell like a barbershop fragrance, literally like a real barbershop fragrance that's been laced up with ambery, nutty notes. But such an awesome scent that is. Absolutely love it. If you haven't tried it, please do. If you were one of the very first people to buy our kits, this was in our ScentClub kit 2, I believe. Do let me know, add a comment below. And what are your thoughts on that fragrance? And then we're going to go with a fragrance called Moss Plus from Commodity. So this is 100 ml for $155. There is a 10% discount code. And this is the Scent Space collection fragrances. And all 3 of the Scent Space collection fragrances are the same price and the same bottle size. 100 ml, $155 for the personal, the expressive, and this is the bold. I don't know why they did the prices like that. I think it caused confusion before. So now they're all the same price. But if you go with the plus sign, as you can see, you're getting something bold, more concentrated. So you're getting a better deal, I think. And I really love the plus in this particular collection. And moss is basically moss and petitgrain. So it's a mossy experience with an overdose of the leaves of the bitter orange tree. So it's citrusy, it's green and mossy, it's fresh and aromatic. It smells like a forest floor that has a citrus tree nearby having the citruses falling down, and they're kind of like fragrant, and you're smelling that forest floor with a overdose of citruses. So it's quite green, a bit bitter, very mossy, very aromatic and spicy. It's so yummy, so yummy. So 100 ml for $155. It's a great fragrance, not overly expensive, and there's a 10% discount code that I have in the info box as well. You can take advantage of that. But I love the Moss series, and my favorite is the Moss Plus. You can go with the personal, which is more of a personal scent, which is very light, wears light. And the expressive I like, but for some reason, I like the Plus here. I like its density. It's also louder than the experience of the 2 different concentrations of the Molton Brown fragrances. The Moss is pretty loud. I like that about it, the Moss Plus, and that's why I'm recommending it here. And then the last fragrances I'm going to talk about are something more minimalistic, and they come in multiple variations. And we're going to start off with Molecule 1. So if you like fragrances that are more minimal, you're going to want to check out the Molecule fragrances, Molecule 1 fragrances from Eccentric Molecules. Molecule 1, actually, I had a client come in just recently. We're trying to figure out what she likes. Started out with Guerlain was one of the brands she wore. She hasn't worn fragrances for a long time. And we found out early on that she did not like floral fragrances. And we couldn't figure out what the name of the Guerlain fragrance was. But I believe I figured out it could be one of the fresh cologne style Guerlain fragrances. We still couldn't figure it out because we went through quite a bit. And then turns out she's a fan of this. She likes clean laundry musk type fragrances, personal fragrances. She was all over this. This is great. It's a personal fragrance, but I do have to warn you, you might be anosmic to this because many people have come to me and told me all I smell is alcohol. I wasted all my money. You're going to have to give this thing a chance. Give it a lot of time. For me, I didn't start smelling this fragrance until probably 5 or 6 or 7 wears. You are anosmic to it, you will not smell it. But eventually, your nose will start smelling it because it's such a bottom-heavy note. It's ISOE super, it's a cedar wood, maybe a little bit of sandalwood thrown in. So your nose might not be familiar with that molecule. So all you'll smell is molecule, but it'll eventually come. Give it a chance. Try it. It will come. But it's minimalistic, it's musky and very woody. And so I was talking to her many times, and after she sprayed herself with this fragrance, I could smell it on her every time she'd move. So I could smell it. I think she was a bit more anosmic to it, but I think right away she was able to smell this fragrance. So that's molecule 1. But maybe you're thinking this is a bit too minimalistic for you. You want something extra added to it. I would go with, let's see. The first one I'm going to recommend is, we have a bunch of different flankers of this fragrance. Let's see where it is. Here it is. So the first flanker I'm going to recommend is Molecule 1 plus Mandarin. So it adds a bit of a sweet citrus kind of an effect to it. So basically all you have is the woods, the cedar wood that's in the original fragrance here, and plus they've added Mandarin to this. So you got what you have here plus Mandarin in this. So once again, it's still simplistic, but it's got the addition of the citrusy, sweet citrusy touches of the Mandarin. So you've got a woody citrus fragrance that smells great. Once again, great projection and things like that, but you've got a citrusy touch added to it. And the cool thing about these fragrances are also, they are fragrances that you can layer with or boost up or enhance other fragrances. If you have, maybe you have the original Bleu de Chanel and Eau de Toilette, you can add the Molecule 1 plus Mandarin to boost it up, give it more of a woody Mandarin effect or touch, and it will intensify the fragrance a little bit and create a kind of a unique layering combo. I did not mention the prices. The original Molecule 1, 100 ml for $150. Sometimes it comes to the discounters. You can get them for around $80. I didn't find any discounts on this fragrance currently. The Molecule 1 plus Mandarin is suggested retail 100 ml for $170. And sometimes, as I said, they go to the discounters. I bought these at discounters before, so there are discounts for them. The next one I'm going to recommend is the Molecule 1 plus Patchouli. So this one gets a bit more earthy, still woody. We've got 2 woody notes here. We've got the ISOE Super, which is the cedar and sandalwood combo. And then we've got the nice heavy dosage of patchouli here. And when I say heavy, it's a nice fusion of the 2 notes together. This is still a minimalistic fragrance, but patchouli is one of the strongest notes out there. It's got a great lingering power. So you put this on, maybe a couple sprays, and it'll be with you all day long. It will be close to your skin, but with a little bit of a body heat, a little bit of movement, you'll start projecting the fragrance. So the Molecule 1 plus Patchouli is awesome. It's my favorite. I also use it to layer other patchouli fragrances that are weak. It's a great way to, use these fragrances minimally on their own, also as a layering tool or something. And the cool thing about this is, what was I going to say? I forgot. It's just a great fragrance. Wear it on its own. It's just very minimalistic. But for me, out of all of these I'm going to recommend, this is the longest lasting for me. So patchouli as a note is a great long-lasting note. So if you like fragrances to last, but you're still on the fence about something that projects too much, you want it minimalistic, go with the patchouli, the Molecule 1 plus Patchouli. And again, this is the same price as the Molecule 1 plus Mandarin, but I did find the Molecule 1 plus Patchouli at the discounters. Suggested retail $170. It's around $153 at the discounters for the 100 ml. And then we've got the Molecule 1 plus Ginger. And remember, guys, I mentioned tomorrow there's a ginger video. This will be featured in it. And many of the ginger fragrances in that video, you can use this to enhance, because if you have a ginger fragrance that's not doing it's not lasting long, this is a great enhancing tool, I think. But on its own, it's that woody note of cedar wood with a little bit of sandalwood and the ginger zingy spiciness. So good. Really awesome. So yeah, I have this featured in that video, so stay tuned for that video. It's a deep dive video, so it's about 2 hours long, maybe 2.5 hours. This is going for suggested retail price $170. I found it at the discounters for about $160. And then we've got the Eccentric Molecules plus Molecule 1 plus Black Tea. So if you like the idea of smoky black tea, this is the fragrance for you, with that addition of the ISOE Super, which is the cedar wood. Again, all of these fragrances from Eccentric Molecules are minimalistic, simplistic, musky, skin scents. So if you like skin scents, these are fragrances perfect for you. You can also use them to layer with as well, as I said. This actually is perfect to enhance another tea fragrance. You know, add an extra layer of intensity or something. But on its own, it's perfect. Smoky black tea with the woodiness of the ISOE Super. So Molecule 1 plus black tea. Then we've got Molecule 1 plus GUAIAC Wood. And for a long time, I was layering this with Maison Crivelli's Ingredients, which is now called Saffron Secret. The two together smelled so good, and it was making the fragrance so intense and overwhelming. But on its own, once again, it's this kind of a slightly smoky, creamy, woody note of GUAIAC Wood. And, of course, woody note of ISOE Super, which is cedar wood and a little bit of sandalwood thrown in. On its own, it's great. It wears great. I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me. But accidentally, somehow I had layered this with the ingredients from Maison Crivelli, which became Saffron Secret, and it smelled so good together and intensified the experience as well. So I use these to layer fragrances with as well. So this whole collection, I think, is perfect for layering. And then finally, we've got Molecule 1 plus Iris. For some reason, the Molecule 1 plus Iris is my least favorite. I don't know why. It's just not one of my all-time favorites in the collection, and I love Iris and fragrances, but this one kind of gets forgotten about. But it's a combo of the ISOE Super, which is the cedarwood / sandalwood, with the powdery Iris. Maybe it's slight bit vegetal as well. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the alternatives for the now launched BLEU DE CHANEL L'EXCLUSIve. I should say it's not my least favorite of the launches this year. I have to be honest. There's other worse fragrances, and I haven't aired the video yet, and I shot it before I even shot the BLEU DE CHANEL video. I actually did an unboxing of this. I cannot stand this fragrance. It's worse than the BLEU DE CHANEL. It's not good at all. But for me, the worst, can you guys guess? I reviewed it at the very beginning of the year. It was one of the biggest letdowns. That's one of the worst designer offerings for men this year. But I'm sure you guys will guess what it is. Again, my negativity about this fragrance is it's too expensive for what you get. So there are better alternatives out there, and they'll make you smell so great with the options I gave you. Or if you want to keep it in the BLEU DE CHANEL family, go with the Parfum. I think it's the best between the first three, and then use your Macy's discount to get 15% off. So you'll save about $30 on that fragrance. Of course, you have to add tax to it as well. So you're going to pay an additional 10% approximately for tax. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Let me know if you've already gotten your nose on L'Exclusive, BLEU DE CHANEL L'Exclusive. Add a comment below. Have you smelled it and didn't buy it? Or you bought it, you thought it was the best thing you've ever smelled? Let me know. Add a comment below. And also, have you gotten your nose on this one? This was sent to me, by the way. I said, sure, send it to me, because they asked me. And I was like, this is not good whatsoever. But anyway, stay tuned for the video on that soon. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Again, the ScentClub kits are out. Great collection of fragrances, perfect fragrances with a transition from summer to autumn. But if you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. And give a thumbs up for this video, as I said. Well, I always said like, but give a thumbs up so it'll help with the algorithm. And please click the bell icon when you subscribe to the channel as well, so you won't miss out on the videos in the future. But also, stay tuned for that ginger video tomorrow. I have shot it. It will go live tomorrow. See you guys later. Bye-bye.